I'm Mort, your host on Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. My host is John Curtis, Dr. John Curtis, and the title of the program
is Strangled Voices. Who's afraid of cures?
Who is afraid of cures? Cures of what? Strangled voices?
Very serious problem, yes. It's been going back since 1871, first described by Traub. It's called the strangled voice. I mean, it's a condition that's regarded today as hopeless. And I find that very interesting, because who in the medical profession decided that the strangled voice was hopeless?
The medical profession decided because they have no cures.
But
you pointed it out.
Who decided they have no cures?
They decide. The medical community writes in its medical journals, at its conferences. It guarantees that there are no cures of spasmodic dystonia.
What happens when a patient comes in and you tell them that there are cures? Well, who are they supposed to believe?
The medical community.
They're not supposed to believe you?
No.
Then why are you telling falsehoods then that there are cures? If the medical profession says there are no cures.
The question is, who's telling the falsehood?
Okay. Well, why don't you explain that?
Well, the medical profession is humanitarian. They're well-intentioned and they're very compassionate. They're trained to put things into the vocal cords, to give you a shot of some kind, or to excise, take tissue out of the vocal cords, growths, nodes, polyps, contact ulcers, premalignancies called papillomatosis, leukoplakia, and keratosis, to help you if you have bowed vocal cords, if you have a unilateral cord paralysis, and so forth. They're trained surgically to do what they're doing. My take on the whole thing is that you can do it by direct voice rehabilitation. It's all natural, and it's very simple. It's so simple, it's mind-boggling, and I report cures of all these conditions that I've mentioned. Papillomatosis, which is a premalignancy, I published in peer review. I did a dissertation on it while at UCLA, got my PhD there. And I wrote a textbook called Modern Techniques of Voice Rehabilitation. It's in the library, so you can get it, no charge. And I wrote books called Stop Committing Voice Suicide, Winning with Your Voice, and a bestseller which is in the going into 19th printing called Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. These books are in the library, which indicates that what the medical people do for our voices, our bad, raspy, and strangled voices, the growths on the vocal folds, needn't be done. That it's a medical treatment, but there is another treatment called non-invasive treatment, and what I do is called direct voice rehab. It's non-invasive, it's non-medical, and it reports cures of all of these conditions I've spoken about, including the strangled voice.
Well, you still didn't answer my question. I want further clarification on this, and forgive me for putting my journalist hat on right now. I am a syndicated columnist, and what I want you to explain to me is you have done some research as to who decided that the strangled voice or spasmodic dysphonia is not curable.
The medical community. They've never had a cure.
Who in the medical community? Was that Arnie Aronson? Was it Christy Ludlow?
All of them.
Was it? Who decided? Because every time you've asked these people who decided that this condition was incurable, they all tell you that they don't know. We weren't on the committee. Why can't they answer the simple question? If it's not curable,
it's called herd-like. Do you know what a herd is?
It is herd-like.
Yes. Herd. Do you define the word herd?
Well, that sounds similar to GERD.
Yes, well, now...
But there's a GERD herd out here now.
Now the medical community is saying that strangled voices are caused by GERD, gastroesophageal reflux. They've made it a disease. There are some people who have a problem, and it may be a disease, but the mass of people with GERD, gastroesophageal reflux, are not in the category of it being a disease that I know of. In fact, what they've done, this study of making acid reflux associated with bad and raspy voice and strangled voice as the cause, is a study done by Merck in 1992 with about 350 people, and I have seen endless patients, countless patients in my 45 years being in the field as a voice clinician and a doctor of voice, getting my degree at UCLA in 1964, and serving on the staff and faculty for about 8 years and running the voice and speech clinic, is that these factors such as acid reflux are a fad as to causing bad and raspy voices, and especially strangled voices. There has been sinusitis, allergy, postnasal drip cited. I talk about that. They're not relevant to the basic cause of voice problems.
Okay. We're still not getting to the question about who opposes cures, who's afraid of cures, where's the panic. Why wouldn't they celebrate a cure? You've had a cure for over 35 years in the work that you've done.
Ongoing cures. 15 cures alone of diagnosed ST, spasmodic dysphonia, by the staff and faculty of the Head and Neck Division.
Non-invasive treatment. I mean, no implants, no drugs, no surgery. Simply something people follow some instructions that you give them. You put them through some exercises, and their voices improve. Why is it
and cured
and cures? Why is it that that word cure is actually something that is not part of the medical vocabulary when it comes to treating voices, especially spasmodic dysphonia?
Because it brings the whole medical edifice down. The whole edifice falls to pieces. The medical community, especially the ear, nose, and throat field, is trained to do surgery or to inject substances such as Botox now. They're trying to do implants into the vocal cords, putting cadaver skin into the vocal cords, or collagen. They've tried paraffin in 1913.
Teflon?
Pruning. They've tried Teflon, they've tried silicone, they've tried, you name it, they've tried it.
And they're trying to...
It's an iffy situation.
They're trying to fill in a gap, right, with respect to the position of the vocal cords.
Or unilateral cord paralysis.
So if they can fill that gap, and they think they can get more vibrational effect from the muscle.
They're looking to structural efficiency, but they're not understanding it's the misuse of the voice that's creating the structural deficiency.
But would you agree with the fact that if you close the gap in the vocal cord, that you're not necessarily improving the function of the muscle?
That's correct.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. That's where they're making the mistake.
Well,
that's why the substances they inject into the vocal cords, whether it's paraffin, silicone, collagen,
do you agree with Robert?
Is not working.
Do you agree with the former editor of the journal Voice, Robert Sadeloff, based out of Philadelphia, that he can perform a voice lift, like a facelift for somebody? He can actually rejuvenate a human voice by injecting the vocal folds with collagen. Do you agree with that position?
No, not at all.
But I mean, collagen is being used for facial
putting into the vocal cords that are 3/5 of an inch long in a woman and 4/5 of an inch long in a man destabilizes the vocal cord. If you have a substance put into your upper lip to your bottom lip, and the vocal cords are like the orbicularis oris, these are the lips. If you have a substance put in, do you think you're going to be able to talk? You get a substance when you have your teeth worked on. Do you think it helps you to talk? It's slurring, it destabilizes the vocal cords from what I've seen. Maybe I'm seeing only the destabilized vocal cords and the failures of implants into the vocal cords. Those are called implants. And the biggest implant today into the vocal cords.
Is that Botox?
It's Botox. And it's the world's deadliest poison. It's called Bo for botulism, and tox for toxin. And they make it a sweet, cuddly sound so that when you're told you should have Botox, you think, oh, but they're not telling you the outcomes of
I read an ad
these
recently.
Implants.
Look, what you're saying here is, I have to tell you folks, Dr. Cooper is giving definitely his point of view on this, but I read a full-page ad in the New York Times, and that ad was very convincing because it said that Botox is a natural purified protein and that it has no adverse side effects. Now, are you saying that the drug maker Allergan would ever report false information in a full-page ad in the New York Times?
Dr. Curtis.
I don't think so.
Dr. Curtis.
This is a responsible, publicly traded company.
Dr. Curtis, I respect you, but I am listening to baloney. You're cutting it thicker than it's possible. The masses are not told what.
What'd you say about the masses? You said it's something that rhymes with the masses.
The masses, by witty people, are saying the masses are asses. It's not that they're asses; that they're simply.
You mean they're dum-dums? I mean,
no,
you
they're
think
not dum-dums.
The wool's been pulled over their eyes.
No, they can't believe that the medical community would not be giving them the truth. The rest of the society, we know the stockbrokers are not going to give us the facts for the most part. I don't believe anything I hear from stockbrokers, and less than...
You've learned something then.
Yeah, well, the rest of the society has to. But we are put upon, and most of what we know is not so. I wrote that, and I do cartooning, so you can accept it as such to that extent. The people who are such as yourself saying it's a purified what kind of purified what?
I'm just reporting what
wait a minute,
Allergan said.
I want you to tell
they
me
said it was
what?
a natural purified protein.
Yes. Well, the outcome you see from clinical experience, I happen to be on the front line, or what they call the trenches. I'm in the trenches. I see what happens with the Botox.
You know, of course, that the AIDS virus is a natural protein also.
Mm-hmm.
The AIDS virus is a natural protein.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help you at all? I mean, when Allergan is saying that theirs is a harmless, innocuous, almost like a health food.
I don't find it harmless and innocuous, as they say. They're entitled to their position. They have good PR. They dominate and control the field, and I wish them well. It's just that I have a different position, different finding. Clinically, my experience is that Botox destabilizes the vocal cords. It paralyzes the vocal cords. The people who do the Botox tell the patients it's 99% effective. They don't tell them effective for what. It paralyzes the vocal cords. It's one of the greatest roller coaster rides you can imagine.
They also say they have scientific precision.
Goes out, goes in, and they give you 4 to 10 Botox shots or more each and every year for your life at perhaps $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a Botox shot. So they may be unhappy with me because I say publicly and in print that it's a full employment act for the ear, nose, and throat doctors and a lifetime annuity. Now, who could ask for more? They're entitled. They've worked through. They've suffered getting their MD license. I suffered getting my PhD
Look,
license.
Am I incorrect in inferring that you're a bit critical of the medical profession and the pharmaceutical company who makes Botox?
I believe you can use the word a bit critical. I may be overly critical, but I don't find that their stats, what they say.
Look, I saw a video.
Outcome,
I saw a video.
99%.
I want to tell you about this.
The physicians doing the Botox tell the patients it's 99% effective.
Yeah, that's right.
Does that mean the patients say over and over in email and calling me and writing me and telling me it didn't help me and so forth? Where are these people coming from? They're coming from all over the world. They send us emails and saying they tried it and they're not doing it anymore. They don't want it. Once you get a Botox shot into the vocal cords, it doesn't calm the vocal cords. It doesn't relax the vocal cords. It paralyzes.
Do you know who Michael Rolnick is?
Yeah, he's a narrator on the
NSDA. I was watching an NSDA, National Spasmodic Dysphonia.
Who is the NSDA?
National Spasmodic Dysphonia Association. This is a national nonprofit organization disseminating the state-of-the-art information about Botox.
Where do they get their money from?
Look,
where do they get their money from?
I asked McAllister that question.
No, wait a minute.
She never got back to me about that.
No, forget about that. Where do they
get the money? They get the money from Allergan,
the maker of Botox.
It's on their website.
On the Allergan website, it says right on the NSDA, National Spasmodic Dysphonic Association. They're entitled to have a front 501c, a nonprofit representing Allergan. I think the world of this organization.
But this fellow by the name of Chip Hanover, who's featured on the video, is a race car driver apparently. NASCAR driver, real macho sort of guy, and this and Michael Rolnick, PhD, did I guess he did a video stroboscopy, a phonatory workup on Hanover.
I don't know. He never said that.
Well, he claimed, and I'm talking about Rolnick, that the physicians who perform these Botox injections on patients with SD, they precisely know the location of where to inject, and B, they know exactly the right dosage, precise scientific dosage.
And you don't believe that?
No, I don't know. I'm asking you. You're the one who's had the experience with the patients. Did Tim Kidwell report that he